Good morning, everyone. Today, we made it to the truck camp, nice, bright, and early, and we got some good plans for today. So you may have noticed I did some painting of the roof, added a bunch of random scribbles of different blacks and different shades of greens. Tried to make it blend in a little bit more because that sheet metal was just so shiny like a giant mirror. I didn't like it. So we made it blend into the woods a little bit more, and the trees around this are gonna quickly grow around it. That stuff, you see all the tree growth around it? Just 4 years ago, that stuff that is now 16 feet tall wasn't there at all. So the kayak, I also want to try to get into the attic of this place. That's why I made the door in there so big going to the upstairs. So I'm not sure if it's gonna fit or not, but here's the game plan for today. We have to try to get this generator started so we can stay here tonight, and we're gonna do something interesting with it. So this generator is 10 kilowatts, which means 10,000 watts. But the military that makes this thing always underwrites their equipment by 30%. What that means is this thing will make at least 13,000 watts of power. And for the health of a diesel generator, a lot of people in my comments gave me advice on this. It's okay to use it like I was using it, just for power tools to build this whole structure, but every now and then you have to put a load on it of at least 60 or 70%. Today we're going to try to max that thing out to about 10,000 watts. I brought a whole ton of space heaters. So I bought a bunch of space heaters. Here's what we got. This one was free on the side of the road. That is 1,600 watts. This is 1,500 watts. This is an oil style one, which I do like. It heats up hot oil inside of here, so it's really hard to start a fire. This is one of the safest types of space heaters. Got these two tiny ones, which are 400 watts a piece. Discount shelf, 75% off. Got this one here, which I've had since I was pretty young. And these two here were on the discount shelf at Walmart, 75% off at the end of last winter. Wish I knew we'd be making a video like this because I just bought these ones at full price. Each of these ones are 1,500 watts. So, what do we got now? 3,000, 6,000, 9,000, 10,500. And if we bring this one here, that will bring us to, let me do the math, 10,500, 11,500. 12,100 watts. And we also got these tiny little ones there where we could increase it because we're trying to max out the generators. It says 10,000 kilowatts, but in reality, it can actually handle at least 13,000. So we're not going to push past 13,000, but we might bring it right up to there. I'm not going to bring these space heaters because these ones add up to enough. They're all uniform looking, and that's going to be so cool, all those things running next to each other in that tiny little building. But it's going to be -5 degrees. So yeah, let's get the kayak off of here. I'm going to remove this temporary structure. You see, it's just made out of plywood and some random 2x4s. I just threw it together in a way where I didn't have to make any cuts. It was supposed to keep it dry. It did a pretty good job. It's dripping in a couple of spots. But yes, it did actually keep the generator completely dry. So what we're going to do today is we're going to remove this. Look at the thick ice. Oh my gosh. I don't even know if we're going to be able to get to the screw heads and take this thing apart. But I think it'll be light enough I'll be able to just get it off with sheer force of myself. Then we'll just throw it to the side and deal with it in the spring. But I brought some lumber. I brought metal roofing. I want to make this thing an actual good roof that isn't touching the generator. Like, it's not technically touching. It's like an inch above it. Even right here, it's slightly above it. I want to put a structure over the top of the generator where I can operate it with the roof, so I don't have to go through this, because I'm kind of going to make this thing stationary. I bought it new tires. I did service on all kinds of stuff, so it is roadworthy in case I want to bring it somewhere, but I'm going to make it semi-permanent here. That's why I put it up on a block so the tire doesn't rot if it's sitting here for 5 years. So we're going to find out if that thing starts in a couple of hours. It's now 9 in the morning. Temperature right now is about 12 degrees. Pretty chilly out. We put anti-gelling fluid in the fall as preventative maintenance because diesel fuel turns to jello basically if it's below 16 degrees Fahrenheit. And tonight is going to be an awesome night for camping in here. It's going to be negative 12 degrees or so. It's going to get down really, really chilly. Thankfully, it's not windy. We won't have a strong wind chill, but we're going to try to heat this thing with space heaters all night. We're just going to let this thing run because you got to run equipment like this every now and then. So it's going to get a good probably 18 hours of constant run time. I also brought some diesel fuel. So let's try to get this whole roof off of this thing and unload the lumber I brought, and we'll do all the lumber in a little bit. So I'm going to hopefully wait until the sun comes out today and maybe heats this thing up slightly. Maybe it'll have a better chance of starting. It's got glow plugs. That's another big plus for this really cold weather. We're just gonna put that on the ground. Yeah, I don't see myself easily getting to these screws. I can't even see half of them with all the snow. Ugh. It's not that heavy. I might be able to just flip it off of here and we'll deal with it on a warm day. I can't believe I was able to lift that. This is pressure treated. When I bought it, it was super heavy, but over the past couple months, it dried out. It's actually pretty light now. We're gonna reuse this plywood in the spring, and we're gonna make walls around the roof I'm gonna build today. How do you think we can get this ice off? Because that'd be nice to disassemble this. This thing's heavy. I don't know how I'm even going to drag it. If this thing was made out of metal, this might work really well, but I'm going to give it a shot. It actually is going to work. Kind of working. I still can't see any of the screw holes. Aha, look what I had in the truck. It's not working either. This ice is bad. Some of them don't even want to budge. I'm getting onto the screw, it won't move because I guess the wood is still wet and the ice is just acting like Loctite. Alright, I got out what I could. The ice is kind of acting like Loctite. This thing just keeps trying to ratchet it out, just hammering it out, but it won't move. It won't budge, a bunch of these. But I got out probably 80% of them, so maybe now we can smash part of this apart. Try to break the following ones that are still in there. Yep. Oh, this piece of wood is just so cold. I'm touching ice and it's cold out here. That was a really crappy 2x4. Alright, this 2x4 is good. This one's good, but there's the one screw we couldn't get out of it. It's just stuck in there, I guess because it's wet. Alright, we got everything apart. We're going to build walls with this when we're done with the roof. Here's another good 2x4. We don't really need those. I'm going to use very thick lumber so we can just go across the whole thing. Alrighty, we have not been inside here in over 2 months. Oh, I just grabbed my keys for nothing. Forgot I had put a combination on this one. I got lucky right there. That was giving me trouble. There's water frozen in the dials. Oh, look what we got. We got some dead mice. Here's one. Yoink. Reset. And another one. Yoink. It's frozen in there. Now look, it's reset. I love these easy to use mouse traps. Okay, it's dark in here. Let's put my flash on. Since the last time I was here, I also stained in here to make it look nicer. What do you think? Use dark stain. That was months ago. You can't even smell it anymore. We got another one. This is why we put mouse traps, because look at this. It's the middle of winter. They're frozen solid. They're not rotting and stinking. They're frozen. If we didn't kill them, they'd be in here pooping, chewing everything. Oh my gosh, there's 2 more of them. Go back outside. Yoink. That one. All of these guys are gonna be owl food now. Another one. If you see my video of what this place looked like when I bought it, you'd understand why these mice are horrible creatures. We literally filled a 30-gallon garbage can with their poop. That's how long they were living in here. And here's where we hook up to the generator, get power going through this place. What do you think of this bench? That was free on the side of the road. So I'm just checking this place out. We're about to start up the generator. The sun looks like it's starting to come out too. Just looking up here because all those mouse traps are basically full, but I'm not seeing any mouse droppings, which we would be seeing. So, yep, we prevented mice from coming in here. Perfect. We stopped them all down here. This place is pretty leaky. It would be very hard to make them not come in here at all. I'm so glad I didn't do this last week. I almost came here last week when there was a foot of snow on the ground. I thought that would have been cool, but this would have been so hard to get this roof off with the foot of snow. But a couple days ago, it got to 50 degrees, and that day it was pouring rain, melted all the snow. The snow switched over. No, the rain switched over to snow for a little bit. That's the icy, nasty coating on everything. And today it's extremely cold again. High temperature today is only supposed to be about 15. Very, very cold tonight too. So let's get to more work. All right, we got the roof done. Now, this is extremely unfortunate. The camera cut out while I was working because it's too cold. The camera shut off due to cold temperatures, which is stupid. Only recorded 26 minutes. How long have I even been at this? Maybe an hour. But the roof is very solid and secure. It's got a couple dents towards the top. You couldn't really see that in the time lapse because it shut off, but as I was doing it, I'd screw down one end, and then I'd go up top, and I'd, with a hammer, pound down each corrugation so that it could fold over to the other side. I overlapped each section by 2, so water can't get underneath it. Now, it's a very solid roof, and in the time lapse, you missed this part. I had this piece of plywood screwed up here, just so I could get inside there, trace the wheel well so I could cut it out. I don't think I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to wait until a couple rainstorms and see how this does. I like having the engine compartment open because I think the generator is cool looking. And if I notice water getting in on the deck very often, like that's only going to happen if it's windy out during a snowstorm or a rainstorm, which probably isn't every time. Kind of like having it open, but if I do notice anything and they're still continuing to rot, I will go ahead and do that. But for the time being, I'm going to take the pieces of plywood and slide them under there. This is just another reason when everyone asks why I won't use cameras when I'm doing stuff that I can't see, like body cameras. It's this reason here. Cameras always seem to die on me when I'm not checking on them. Now, that camera wouldn't have shut off if I came over here every 10 minutes to see if it was recording. It wouldn't have. It would have gone for hours. That's how it always is. But you also missed in the time lapse. I had to make this whole project. I only required 2 cuts, and that was the 2 end pieces because I wanted it to. I didn't want the thing 8 feet because if the framing was 8 feet, then the roofing wouldn't have been able to fold over because you lose a little because that's exactly 8 feet also. Well, I plugged in my reciprocating saw to my truck because for 2 cuts, I didn't think it was worth starting this up because we don't need it yet. 2 cuts I thought was very wasteful to wake this thing up because once I wake it up, I'm just going to leave it running until I leave. I got more diesel fuel, and this actually came out pretty nice in here. Take a look at it. The roof looks nice from the inside. I can get up in here. There's some working room. The sun angle is horrible for trying to film this, but yeah, I think it's because I just created a dark spot. Well, I think it came out good anyways. It's solid, secure. It'll be able to hold a good amount of snow. Just remember all the people in the comments who judged me when I built things like the pallet house. That was thrown together so fast. I personally didn't expect it to survive the first winter, but it is still surviving after 2 winters. Everyone thinks this thing back here is gonna blow over for some reason. I don't know why they think that. It's secured to the truck. Not exactly sure why, but I also camouflaged that, which I think is ugly looking. So the next warm day, I'm just gonna go over that and paint the entire thing brown. I'm getting rid of those tree scribbles and all the green. I'm just gonna make the whole thing brown the next appropriate day for spray painting. I'm actually very upset the camera stopped working, but we're gonna keep all this plywood dry. I'm just gonna put it underneath the trailer for now until I decide to do something with it. That'll keep it dry. I'm gonna put the 2x4s underneath it so it keeps it off the ground. All right, that's really good for storage underneath there like that. And now we're gonna go ahead and try to start this thing up. So I made sure days in advance before coming here to charge up this thing's batteries, and they're still in my truck right now. So they're still much warmer than the outside temperature. So hopefully that'll help this thing turn over. All right, everyone, we're in my basement now, and let's hope the generator wants to start in this frigid weather tomorrow. We're charging up the batteries right now. They're full, it says. So take these off, put them onto another battery. Here we go. I like to keep all my batteries charged. I don't leave them on the charger all winter because that's not good for them either, but every now and then we'll go in here and charge them. Now these ones right here, we charge a little differently in a series because they're actually 6 volts, and that makes a 12 volt there. Now by having 2 6s like that, it creates more current to run certain things. I'm using these to run a 12 volt air conditioner, and that works a lot better than having 2 12 volt ones. And that's for the lawn tractor. Tomorrow morning we'll put that on there once again, right in the morning. Oh, the furnace came on. So I went out and got these extension cords here. This is a smaller one, so I might only put 1 heater on that. But these other ones here are very thick wires for the 20 amp outlets. And I got these splitters right here, which are 20 amp. And I'm assuming I can probably put 3 on each of those without it getting too hot. And each of these has a 20 amp breaker, so we can put quite a few space heaters in here. And we even have a 30 amp plug there if I had a really, really big space heater. And this breaker box right here, see how it's kind of rotten? Now that we got the roof over it, I don't see that continuing. And the roof overhangs enough so it doesn't drip on the wheel well and splash in there. See, we have quite a good amount of 20 amp breakers. There's the 30 amp breaker. There's a 100 amp breaker, which is this massive like power line which you got in there. So the batteries I'm about to put in here go here. This is a military generator, and most military vehicles use 24 volts, not 12. So you put them in here in a series, 2 regular 12 volt batteries. When you splice them together like that, becomes 24. Here's where the diesel goes. Despite it saying it's not completely full, it is indeed completely full. The gauge is just not completely accurate, we determined. And look, the fuel is still nice and watery despite it being very cold. Now that we're getting into the afternoon, it's actually getting colder. So right here we're gonna go ahead and remove these exhaust pipes. These are capped so that mice don't get in there. And you notice there's like a nasty oily residue. That's what we might call wet stacking. So that's why we're gonna put a lot of current on this thing today. For this colder weather, we also have this controller right here, which you're supposed to move up here for cold weather. It's on regular run. It is rusted shut. I've sprayed penetrating oil in there so many times. I cannot get that thing to free up, so we're just gonna have to run the generator normally. And we can't forget over here on this side, gotta open this thing up because the previous owner of this thing told me mice love to live in this compartment, so we stuff mothballs in there, and we're gonna put those mothballs right back when we leave here. So we'll go ahead and close this compartment back up. Right down here we have our oil pressure, which goes up nicely when we start it. We also have to check right in here. The oil, I'm sure, is fine. We did an oil change on it earlier in the year. Look, that oil's pretty thick. Look how it's sticking, but not as thick as I thought it would be for these temperatures. So we're doing good with the oil. Look how cold it is. Oh, now it's showing 4. So it's slowly dropping the temperature. Tonight we're expected to be like down here, but it's always a little colder here than they say it is because we're kind of high elevation. And over here we started up with the throttle halfway out. If it's all the way in like that, it's probably just not gonna start, so we have it halfway out. We also should lubricate the linkings of this going to the engine. And over here, when we use it, see where it says Hertz? Everyone in my comments was telling me that I shouldn't have been running it at 55. I didn't know. I haven't used these generators before, but I had a lot of helpful advice in my comments. So today we're going to pull the throttle out, run it at a much higher speed, get it to 60 Hertz. And that's how we're going to leave it running. The battery gauge does not work. This thing also has a broken alternator, so we can start it quite a few times, but it will not charge its own batteries. And over here is the engine run hours, which is accurate. That does move. This moves, all the gauges work. We want to make sure that it's up to the proper, right there. See that little line is where we want it at. And it also, see, it does indeed have glow plugs right there. See, preheat. And there's the main circuit breaker there, which is off. We leave that off. We're gonna let this thing idle probably for 20 minutes and get it nice and hot before we demand any power out of it. That's frozen to the ground. I had that sled covering the engine, but it must have blown off. I'll have to put a rock on top of it. Look at that, the wheels are all jammed because everything's covered in freezing rain. Let's just get this out of the way because we're gonna run a whole bunch of extension cords in through the back door of the truck. All right, we got the extension cords plugged in. That should be enough for all of them so we don't overload anything. All right, so I think we're gonna have 3 space heaters back here at the rear of the truck. So I guess that yellow cord is 25 feet because these ones I bought are 50 feet and they can make it all the way to the front. So I'm going to drag this one for another 3 space heaters to the front, and then we'll have 2 space heaters in the middle, one of them plugged into the truck's electrical system, and one of them plugged into this green cord, which I don't want to put multiple heaters on because of the smaller diameter wire. Trying my hardest to not make a tangled mess I have to clean up in the morning. All these colorful wires actually look really, really pretty. Now this door doesn't shut right. There's always a crack right there. It never latches there. It only latches at the top. So that's a good sign right there. All the cords coming in. We have those two heaters sitting in the bench. We have this one. These three are connected. This older one has its own wire. This one's plugged into the truck's electrical system. I'm also going to be using an electric stove I have here in the truck because we're trying to draw as much power as possible. We're not going to use this time. Maybe sometime next month when it's really cold again, we'll come back and use the stove. And we have this thick wire coming up front to another 3 space heaters. And I don't know. It's going to be a very, very cold night. But still, I think we're going to have to leave windows cracked. I think it's going to get very hot in here once we start up. I don't think it's really going to be a problem. But as a precaution, I have a carbon monoxide alarm. I'll just keep it right here. That's only because we have a diesel generator running only 10 feet from the building, just in case when I'm sleeping, fumes that I don't notice don't come in here. I keep that in the back of my truck when I'm sleeping, just because sometimes I will run the truck with me sleeping inside, and I haven't fallen asleep yet, but if I did, that's just in case. I don't have any exhaust leaks, so it's still unlikely, but I keep that in my truck when I'm sleeping. Can you hear that noise? There's a very angry squirrel outside that doesn't like our company. They're going to be very angry, those squirrels, when we start that loud generator all night. Look at a little teeny space heater upstairs. Okay, downstairs we just got our little electric cooktop. Oh, look at this. Look, there's even ice there somehow. Oh, you know what that ice I bet is from? I bet, like I said, it got really warm in the week. This was still frozen from our last cold spell. It was sweating it was condensation like a drink on a hot day, which dribbled and froze. Yeah, that's what happened. Ooh, this one's still liquidy. I guess it's because it's probably just because it's so salty. Ooh, this one's actually liquid too, which is weird because frozen solid. Thick thing, frozen solid, but yet these two are liquid. This one feels like it froze. That squirrel is still very, very pissed that we're here. They're not used to company since I haven't even been here in 2 months. All right, everyone. I had to get the bigger jacket on because I'm not really doing much at the moment and my body is not pumping blood as fast. So now we're gonna get in here and put these batteries on. Let me remember how they go in here. So, like that. And, so the other way around probably would have worked too, but for some reason this terminal is fatter than that one, and we just snug them on there. I don't tighten them or anything because this is so temporary. These batteries are actually still a bit warm compared to everything else. Is freezing out here. All right, everyone, we're gonna finally see if this thing will start. We got camera number 2 going too because some people like to see the burst of smoke these things make when it first starts. So it is 9 degrees, exactly the same as before. It's about 2 in the afternoon. We got about 3 hours or so. Actually 2 hours this time of year. It gets dark around 4. My fingers are freezing. Can't wait to get some heat going. But we're gonna let this idle for like 20 minutes. And this thing sure is loud. It says all over it, you need hearing protection. Well, these were cold too. All right, let's see what it'll do. Let me listen for a minute too. Let's see. This is priming. I don't think we really need to do that. Oh, wow, I've never seen that. I never even noticed. This thing actually has its price tag when it was made. $10,985 is what it looks like the military bought this thing for back in the 90s. That's a lot of money for the 90s. What is that today? Like 15, 18,000? All right, preheat. We're using the glow plugs. I'm going to keep it on that for maybe 15, 20 seconds. All right, we're going to try starting it now. Come on, you can do it! Oops. Leave that little crack, that's okay. That would shut more, but it's on the cords, but that's fine. I made sure all these things are actually shut off, and we'll turn the lights and heaters on. We're just giving that thing like 20 minutes because it's so cold outside. The smoke has just about stopped on the generator. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. Oh, wow. It's barely warm yet. I've heard diesel engines take forever. I can barely feel heat in there. All right, right here. Alright, smells a little bit in here like exhaust. Okay, we got that plugged in. I see the cord is glowing, meaning it has power. Glowing, yep, we got power through all this stuff now. Okay. Upstairs lights, downstairs lights are going. So, I think it's time. Let's start putting a load on the generator. In here, I don't really need to wear my earplugs. It's not that loud, but outside I do. So let's see. Is it going to sound any different now that we're going to put load on it? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. So that's okay. Got this one here too. Put that one on high. Anything happening yet? Oh, I can smell dust burning. So yep, we're doing good. All right, this one. Yep. Over here. On high. On high. On high. Those are gonna start turning bright red. Yep, look at them turning red. Oh my gosh, I can already feel this part of the thing getting warm. Wow. We're gonna heat up fast. I don't think we're even gonna need them all. We might shut some off, but I heard you want to put at least 60% of the generator's load on it. Now this, we now got 3,000, 6,001, 9,001. Then we have 12,001. So yeah, now we're at probably 90% of its realistic power. Remember, it is a 10,000 watt generator, but the military underwrites them, so it's at least 13,000. So we're almost there. When we start cooking, we'll be right at its capacity. And we got this little guy upstairs. Okay, I can smell a lot of dust burning because these are brand new. That'll go away in a moment. Oh my gosh. Wait a sec. That one's working. Okay, they all shut off. Yeah, we blew a fuse. Okay, can't have 3 of them on a breaker, I suppose. So, all right. I might need to grab another extension cord. I have a bunch of these ones, but I only have a couple of the powerful ones. So maybe we're gonna go reset the breakers. We're gonna try only maybe 2 on each breaker. But this one's unexplainable. Why did that one shut off? That's on its own breaker with just the... Wait a second. Wait a second. Why is it on? Why are the lights on but this is off? Okay, we got something weird going on with the generator. These ones definitely blew a fuse because nothing's on. But why is the one on the table not working? All right, let's try just 2 of them on a breaker. Let's see if that trips. Okay, it's still on. Now it should be able to handle 2 of them, I would assume. We got this one on high. Barely feels like it's doing anything, probably because it's so cold, but there might be something I'm overlooking. Okay, it's not... It hasn't flipped yet. Now this one. Oh, that's why this one wasn't on. Forgot to turn the maximum thing up. Some of these don't even have the maximum thing all the way up. Well, that explains that, right? No. Still appears to not be turning on. It's plugged in, but... Wait. I'm starting to feel something again. Yeah, it's turning on. Yep, that was that problem. Okay, this one's turning on. That one's turning on. So it looks like we can handle 2 on each breaker. Okay, 2 on each breaker's working. I have 1 more extension cord. So maybe we'll try putting 2 on that one too. Okay. This is gonna look cool when the sun goes down. We'll shut the lights off and it's just gonna be glowing red in here. That's gonna be cool. So this appears to be working at the moment. Let's go look at the generator and see if the gauges are showing this. It looks like we need more power. Generator started smoking again since we put more power on it. What does that mean? Because we're definitely not overloading it. Okay, let's check inside. The generator has stopped smoking. It smoked for a little bit when we put this load on it. Now it just has a little bit of haze coming out of the muffler, which was normal for the summer. Something smells like it's burning though, and it's not fuel. I'm thinking it's mouse pee inside the generator. That's what I'm thinking, because I looked it over. I don't think anything's frying. Nothing feels like it's getting hot. We're doing okay right now. Got a lot of heaters in here. We started warming up. Let's try to get near that freezing mark. Okay, this is actually really cool. So what do we got now? We got 3, 6, 6,000, 9,100. 9,100. Maybe we don't need the 2 other heaters. Maybe we don't need them. Nothing's heating up in here, right? I think that we're good. I don't think we're gonna use the other 2, actually. Yeah. I don't think we will. Let me go see that one extra extension I got, the green one. I'll get that back out. It's burning up all the carbon inside the exhaust, the wet stacking, the whole reason we're doing this. I think it's just cleaning itself out because the smell's actually coming out of the muffler. And when I put that huge load of power on it, I told you it started smoking again. Well, it stopped. The smell went away. So, yeah, people in my comments are right. What I'm doing right now is actually cleaning out the generator. Oh yeah, we're climbing. It feels so much warmer in here compared to outside. Nice. Running nice. These are all running good. Here's that wire I just got from the generator. So let's get that last one there plugged into this. Yeah, and we're not cooking yet, so let's shove another one on there. There we go. So that one's starting to heat up, turning red. So now we got 3, 6, 9, 12,100 watts running off this thing. And now 12,500 watts. And if we turn that on, which will probably blow the breaker too, that would be I don't even know. That would be another 1,500, the same as the space heater, but that's only if we use both, I'm assuming. So yeah, we're definitely within the range now that it's helping clean out the generator. So we're gonna let it run like this for a while. It's obviously gonna get too hot in here, even with the door open, most likely. So yeah, this is beneficial, even just for an hour. I can already tell when we load more on there, it's making the generator stinky because it's generating more heat, it's running harder, it's cleaning out the exhaust. It's nice. The one thing I don't understand that people in my comments that work on these generators, well, they say they work on these generators, they're telling me that high idle won't clean it out. You actually have to load it up. Is that true? Because in my head, I just don't understand how it running at high idle wouldn't do the same. But I guess with a lot of power on it, somehow maybe it's like putting weight on the engine. You know, it's not like revving an engine in neutral. Maybe it's actually putting weight on it somehow. I don't know. Do alternators get harder to turn with more force? Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, okay. I believe I remember learning that years ago in school. Yep, I just went outside. It absolutely stinks again since we loaded another 3,000 on it. So yeah, we'll let it clean itself out for like an hour, then we'll shut off some of these things until it gets dark. Wow. We're having a party with the space heaters. We got that old one from the 80s, all these. It's looking cool. This is looking cool. We got it loaded up nicely. Yeah, we got a little bit of heat coming out of there too. Nice. Oh, and I almost forgot. We got more power. These are 100-watt LED equivalents. They actually use 20-something, so add another 100 watts, those 4 bulbs running. Oh, upstairs must be getting hot. You can't even see the dial. Yeah. Okay, so this one down here is next to the open door, which is, there's air pulling in because it's sucking upstairs since the windows up there are both open. So down here we're at about 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Upstairs, what is this one reading? Wow, 40 upstairs. Yeah, it's always warmer up in the attic of any building. Okay, let's go check the generator again, see if it stopped smoking. Yeah, it stopped smoking, but I can still smell it. It's just this putrid smell of, I guess, carbon in the engine burning up. It's an awful, awful smell coming out of those mufflers. But it has already stopped. It only did it for like 10 minutes. Every time we increased load on that generator, it released this nasty smell for like 10 minutes. It has cleared up, and it's so cold out. This isn't even overheating in here. It's about time for me to take my jacket off, but let's hang out in here for a bit. Let's take this off. I was probably talking really loud because I had this on, but I'll try to adjust it as best I can during editing. It's not that loud in here, especially if we shut the doors. Yeah, that helped a lot. Yeah, it's actually not that bad. Nice, nice. So what do you think? Tomorrow when I leave, am I going to be able to get the kayak up in here? I think I might have a chance. I want to put the kayak up here and not just have it outside. At least it'll be in this building, which is locked. It took a good 10 minutes, but we just blew the fuse of the lights because of both of these. All right. We are gonna shut this off. So I guess these ones are just borderline tripping the breaker. But these ones with just that little bit of extra current from the lights and that little one up there, I guess it's just too much. Well, it did it for a little bit, but I guess we can't have the one on for a while. I guess I'll go back out and reset that breaker. Alright, we got the lights back on. Shut the door and see how hot we can get it. Let's go upstairs too and shut these windows for now, because I just want to see how much we can bake it in here. Smells unusual up here. Yeah, I might be smelling the spray foam, but I did that a long time ago. You might have noticed I brought some more cans of spray foam today, and that's because once we get it warm in here, I'm going to look around and see, seeing slight cracks where daylight might be getting in. We got so many space heaters that it's not going to make a difference. Yeah, see over there? You see daylight. I want to foam that when I'm sitting in here bored. There's not many leaks now. People were wondering why I didn't insulate this. Well, it's a metal truck. None of it's insulated. That wood stove gets so hot that it doesn't need to be insulated. Plus, if you turn the wood stove on, this is a steep roof. Snow is usually not going to stick to it unless it's heavy, wet snow. But if, let's say it did, turn the heat on, it's just going to crash off the roof, which would be really cool to come here sometime with heavy, wet snow. It's just really hard to predict that. Up here it's usually fluffy because it's so cold in the winter. That'd be beautiful scenery though to film. I also thought about, a lot of people told me I should close half of this up, like have a removable hatch. Well, I made it so big so I could maybe store stuff up here, but I might do that at some point. Or at the very least, put something there, maybe a metal grate. You know, that metal decking like they have on industrial buildings. I could maybe buy a piece of that at the Home Depot and just fit it in here. That'd look kind of cool also. Metal grates. Like, you know, another example is you stomp your feet through it. Gets dirt and snow off. A lot of us up north have those at our front doors, this heavy metal grate that you can stomp through because of the snow. What do you think? I use stain on the rust. It makes it look wet, but it's not. It's just like polished up. Okay, I'm starting to sweat now. It hasn't gone up much, but I am starting to sweat. So you want to be doing this before it gets dark because you can actually visually see where you gotta do a little bit of foaming. Like this, see? Stick it in those cracks really nicely. Just like that. Now that it's warm in here, it'll harden. If you try to use spray foam when it's too cold, it won't cure right, and it can potentially off-gas in a dangerous way. Like, it won't become safe when it hardens. And also, it'll be a weird color if it's not cured properly. Now over here, I also see some gaps like that. I should basically just fill every little bit like this. Let's get this junk out of here. These are cans that are full but clogged up when I was doing it last time. Oh no, I got foam on myself. That stuff's hard to get off. At least it's not bad like last time. I actually had that on my fingernail for a month. Nothing would take it off. I had to wait to shed it off. Okay, more gap right here. I want to seal it as best I can. We probably only need one can. It's starting to get hot in here, even since I took my jacket off. Okay, I think we got most of the leaks. Yeah, I see another little gap in there. Anywhere else? Let's just gap that up right there nicely. Just in case. Okay, I think that we got what we needed to. I'm gonna pull the trigger a little bit, get a little ball of it on the end of it, hopefully so I can just pull it out if I find more tonight. Or we could always cut the straw a little bit. Alright, we don't need the second can. I don't see anywhere else. I just decided to open the window up because I did a little bit of foaming and that releases formaldehyde gas. With the downstairs door open and heat rising, it'll keep it completely out of the downstairs and just suck it out the window. I am sweating my butt off in here, but people that know me, I guess, would know that I take cold weather pretty well, and it's not that hot. I thought it was going to be like room temperature, but we're not even close. I even went ahead and grabbed this one because I didn't trust these. These ones are reading 12. Well, yeah, it's 12 Celsius. They're reading about 54, 53. They're slightly off. And this one right here is reading 49, 50. There's a slight discrepancy, but you get the point. Alright, I just got all my bedding in here, and I tried to get the kayak through here. It fits through the back door, no issue, but it's too long. It can't make the turn up into the attic, but that's okay. Before we leave, I'll just put it in here on the floor. All right, everyone, status update. We have been running the generator for about 3 hours. It's almost dark outside now, and using all this power, the generator uses a lot more fuel than it did when we were building this in the summertime, because we have to idle it faster to make this amount of power. So we use about 1 gallon an hour now, and it has an 8-gallon tank, and I have a 5-gallon diesel can. So there's a chance before bedtime I might have to take off for an hour and go to the nearest gas station and pick up a little bit of red diesel. So we might have to leave here just to make sure we can get through the night, because once I top it off, like, I'm gonna wait until it's almost empty, fill the whole 5 gallons in there, head off to the store, come back, then we have a nice can for overnight. So it uses about 1 gallon an hour. So if we top it off for bedtime, that'll give us about 8 hours to sleep. I think the military generator purposely, the gauge is a little off. I think that's on purpose. So when it reads empty, you realistically have 1/8 left, so you don't run it out. That's what I think it is. And that's off, that little heater. With these lights and this, that's only about 100 watts extra. After about an hour, we blew the fuse. So these are just borderline tripping the breaker. So yeah, this one has to be on low. If it's on high, eventually it flips. So we're gonna shut this one off pretty soon. Maybe put this one on low, and I gotta go out to my truck. We're gonna do some cooking in here. I'm gonna make something nice. I'll show you in a moment. Temperature status update. Upstairs, heat is rising, so about 62 degrees, pretty good. It's a little bit colder upstairs, makes sense. Now, sitting here right below it in my chair, this is awesome. I feel a little bit of cold air just trickling down on me, because hot air is going up, cold air is trickling down. We have a perfect draft system going, making this place nicely distributed without fans. And downstairs, how are we doing here? We are reading about 62. It's about even in here. It's about the same. Now, how are we doing outside? Earlier it was reading 9. How are we doing? Come on, focus in. Are you gonna let me focus in, or are you gonna make me open the door? Okay. We are at positive 1 degrees. We're almost into the negatives, which is so exciting. See, when you're up north, as soon as the sun sets, it just plunges the temperatures up here. So I can't wait until we do a check at like 1 in the morning, because that's probably the time I'm going to be up to. Look at that, everyone. We're sitting at a goose egg right now, and it looks like we might get a full moon tonight. That is pretty exciting. I hope we get a full moon tonight. That'll be awesome. So I got the food we're going to eat tonight. Now I just got to clear some space. So I got a frying pan, got some cutting boards, we got to cut up a bunch of vegetables. Let's get these off. It's not actually that loud in here. So let's make some space, get the water down here. Now we're gonna do some cooking, so shut the heater off. We're gonna put this one on now. I think I can run this with that one, because only one burner shouldn't equal its capacity, so. But now we got to figure out which one is the dominant burner. So it doesn't say, but usually on these things one of them's more dominant. And all right, we just turn that one on. We're going to see how red it gets. Then we're going to see how red that one gets. I've used this many times during old food videos, so I know one of them gets a lot hotter than the other. Alright, everyone, I figured it out. It's the left burner. It's a lot hotter than this one. So here's what I plan on cooking tonight. I got this cut up meat right here. Got it discounted for a couple of dollars. And got some mushrooms. Got some bell peppers. Got a big old onion. Got a can of baby corn right here. So I'm gonna try to make like some kind of stir fry. So we got this right here, which once I brown it up, I'm assuming this is going to create like some kind of grease, which will help everything else cook. I'm going to add some of this Japanese barbecue sauce, which is really good. It'll make it taste really nice. Got some black pepper, some silverware, and a knife. The only reason I think I'll need the knife is maybe for checking to see if everything's cooked through. Alright everyone, I think it's a good idea to maybe cut up everything first, because I don't know how long it's going to take for this stuff to actually cook. I don't have a trash can in here, but I got this right here. I can put the scrap on and just dump it in the woods. So now I gotta peel this onion and cut up everything. It is starting to get hot in here. It's starting to get nice. Looking pretty good. I love baby corn. I love peppers. I love mushrooms. And I love onions. So this here I'll munch on as a snack later. I feel bad. That was a massive onion and we probably only need like a sixth of it. That was the biggest onion I've ever seen. So now we're gonna start cooking this. Alright, let's get this open. Start browning the meat. I don't know, maybe we should do 2 batches. We'll see. Ooh. Oh, it fit, and that's gonna shrink. I think we can fit it all since it accidentally slid in there. So now we're gonna turn it on. We're gonna start on medium, and I think we should add some of this right off the bat, because this is how we're going to season it. This tastes really good. I love using this Japanese sauce. It tastes really good. Oh, is it getting clogged? Oh yeah, the top's getting clogged a little bit. I guess it's been in my refrigerator for a while. Oh! It went everywhere. Okay, that's a good amount of it. But this is also really good when you make fried rice. Oh yeah, that's on my shirt, my pants. It's all over the table. Some spots on the wall, floor. Oh no. It's okay, I'll have to get some paper towels out of the truck in a bit. It's alright, it's alright. It's okay, I don't mind being a little dirty. I'll have to wash up anyways. I'm just gonna time-lapse myself browning that. Once we brown and get it like half cooked, I'm gonna throw in all the vegetables. I'm getting pretty hungry, so I'm gonna put this thing on high now, and I think we're gonna start adding other things. But I'm just gonna sit here constantly stirring it so nothing burns. I think we're going to start adding stuff. What should I add? I'm not sure which of these cooks fastest. And I also don't know if we're going to use all of it. Here we got some baby corn. I love that. Let's mix that in there. Just like that. Yeah, just dump it all in there. We're good. Half of the mushrooms, a good amount of onion. Oh wow, look at that pile. Alright, we're not going to add all of it because I don't think I'll be able to stir it. So the rest of this I guess will just be a snack I can fry up later. Let's put these in there. I love those. We got to cook those because I'm not going to eat those raw. I don't like them raw. Yeah, so now we're up to the brim, so and I'm going to use this up. I can buy another one since it's almost empty. Put all that in there. Oh, we're clogged again. Don't want to make that mistake again. Yeah, it's gone. Alright. Guess we're just going to slowly stir it. I don't have a cover for this pot. Let's see if one that I have in the truck will fit. No, not even close. Okay, I got it. Well, I found this one, which we're gonna use. It's not the cleanest thing. I'm just gonna wipe it on my shirt, but heat kills things, so that should be good enough. I just want to like trap heat in there and open it, and maybe every 5 minutes, and I want to trap heat in there so it cooks better. Yeah, that thing's on high too, so I'm going to turn it down a little too, because I want to trap heat, but I don't want to burn the bottom of it. How are we doing now on the bottom? Just going to make sure nothing gets stuck to the bottom down there. This is going to be quite the meal, but I can heat it up whenever I want, eat it in a couple doses. I can have it for dinner. I can have it as a midnight snack. It'll still be good in the morning. So yeah, stir this up a little bit. Some of the meat is still showing red a little bit. I dropped the baby corn on the floor. It's okay. We'll leave that for like 5 minutes before we stir it again. Alright, the vegetables are actually shrinking fast. That is the one I dropped on the floor, so we'll just avoid that area there. I want to add some more of this because it shrunk quite fast. And maybe throw a couple more onions in there too. I just stirred it again, so it's taken forever for that to heat up. This isn't a very powerful burner for such a big pot. It's going to be a little bit, but that's okay. I'm less likely to mess it up if it's cooking slower. Alright, this has been cooking for a while. Ouch, 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 that cover. This is really getting hot in here now, so yep, this is starting to get a little floppy. So I want to still keep a little bit of its crunch, so let's cut open some of these thicker pieces of meat and see how they're doing. I'm going to actually go ahead and shut this off because I think we're ready. Let's put this on the cutting board. That's one of the thicker pieces. Just want to make sure it's cooked through. Ooh, look at that, nice and pink. So that's actually where I want it. So I just shut the heat off. Let's see, is there any more pieces that are kind of thick? We'll test a couple more. Pink, nice, not overcooked, but still juicy. Here's another big piece. I'm sure it's all cooked just by how hot it is in this pot. Yeah, nice and pink. We are absolutely perfect, and I don't want that to cook anymore. So let's move it over to the cold burner and make it stop. Okay, leave that open. I'm gonna let that cool for like 20 minutes. Then it should be perfect for me to enjoy. I just went outside for a couple of minutes, and it doesn't feel as cold as it really is because the air is completely still. No wind. If it was windy on a night like this, it would feel super duper cold, but there's no wind chill. So sometimes the cold can sneak up on you. I was just out there for like 10 minutes. I don't really feel it. I can walk around in it without a jacket for quite a while, and then I start feeling my fingertips starting to get numb. But how are we doing with this? Oh, that's still way too hot to touch, but it does look pretty good. Yeah, it does look good. Vegetables are like half cooked the way I like it. And the vegetables look like they almost went away because this was packed to the top. They really shrunk a lot. But it does look tasty. When I was outside, I was checking on our fuel, and it's reading a little over a quarter tank, so we in reality still have half a tank left. And so it looks like we are doing a little better after all than a gallon an hour, maybe 3/4 an hour or something. But I only have half a can of diesel fuel left. So we're gonna pour that in a couple of hours, and we're gonna head off to the gas station. We got to get some red diesel. When you're in a rural area like this, lots of people actually have generators like this. They rely on them all day long. Some people that live deep in the woods don't have access to actual power, so they have to use solar or diesel generators like that. But usually they'd build a shed around it with a lot of insulation to keep it quiet. And it would have like a little smokestack out the top. But we don't have a lot of fuel, so what I just did is I took a gas can I have, poured it into my truck, and I'm leaving it open for as much of the fumes as possible can evaporate. I'm making sure there's no residue in there, just a little bit of vapor. So the thing is, if you have a gas can and you put diesel in it, just a teeny bit of gas, maybe just a quarter cup in a whole 5-gallon thing of diesel, can raise the flash point to where it causes failure to a diesel engine. At least that's what Google says. But the other way around, you can put quite a bit of diesel in a gas engine. I'm not recommending it, I'm just saying the other way around, it doesn't really affect it if there's a little bit of diesel in your gas. I found this is the only cleaner I have in my truck, but that will work good enough for us to clean the counter off, and all the dirty dishes are coming home with me because I don't want to, I haven't done dish soap, but I really don't want to do it in the stream, so I'm just going to bring it back home. Don't want to do that in this freezing weather. That's not pleasant at all. But got a paper plate, and now we're going to scoop out some good food and eat. That looks delicious. All the vegetables sunk to the bottom. I'm trying to get them out. They're in such tiny pieces, that's why. Alright, I just got almost half of it out of there. I think I can finish that right now. Let's put this cover back on so it stays fresh for a while. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to finish that. People always make comments about how much I eat in these camping videos, but I've been on a diet lately, and I honestly don't know if I'll even be able to finish that. Alright everyone, let's give this a try. The pieces of steak kind of dried, so they're like finger food. Oh my gosh, you know what this tastes like? With this sauce here, it made the steak taste like, you ever have the Hungry Man meal? The one with the sauce all over the little chunks of steak? I don't even know if they make it anymore. I haven't seen it in years, but it tastes just like that. Actually, I feel like this will be better with some juices on it. Yeah. That'll make it better, I think. Being able to like soak it in there. Absolutely, that's where all the flavor is. Yeah, this came out good. Oh yeah, that added so much flavor, just adding that over the top. And now here's some onion and a baby corn. So here's a big chunk of peppers. Great. I wonder what happened to all my mushrooms. They must be at the bottom of the pot. There's not many in here. So the mushrooms and all the vegetables I cooked absolutely perfect. Now the steak, not gonna lie, it's a little bit chewy, but tolerable. Actually, the little piece was okay. I think I just gotta cut it up. Yeah. Yep, still slightly pink in the middle right there. Alright everyone, I was surprised I was able to finish all that. Still got like 2/3 of it left. Maybe we'll heat that up and have like a midnight snack, but I'm full. That filled me up good. I got a stomach ache right now. I ate too much. That was actually too much for me. I didn't use the pepper or anything. These heaters are doing well, but we're at about 66 degrees right there. One over here says 72, and we have had this everything, the doors, windows shut for hours. I don't think we're gonna do much better. That's about it. Temperatures are surely dropping. Yeah, -8. Yeah, it's getting colder. We're getting slightly warmer, I guess, because everything in here is warming up, but I don't think we're gonna get that much warmer. In fact, this wood stove is more powerful than all these heaters. That's what it appears to be like. But then again, I've never used the wood stove in extreme cold like this with the upstairs. We didn't build the upstairs at that point. So it'll be interesting. We'll come back maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe in a month, maybe in February. And when it's really cold again, we'll use solely the wood stove and we'll see how it does. And up here is actually, this feels nice. Just like a cold breeze trickling down right here, down to where I was sitting. I like it. I like that it's a bit colder upstairs because I sleep better when it's a little bit cool. I love keeping the house at like 60 degrees when I sleep, so I don't have any issue with this. Let's top off the generator's diesel fuel right before bedtime, and it's still fairly early. Yeah, it's only 6:30, so I'm gonna wait until it gets to be like 10 o'clock when there's no traffic, no one's around, and then we're gonna go get some more fuel. Alright everyone, it's time to do a little bit of cleaning now. I don't know what it is, but when I'm over here, I hear the purr of the generator. But when I'm over here, for some reason, can you hear that? It sounds like I can only hear the high pitch, like, components inside the generator. It sounds different, depending where you're standing here. But, alright, we're gonna head out now and get some fuel. So in here, if anyone's wondering, this wood, counter, it's just warm to the touch. Nothing's like extremely hot in here. Ceiling, not even warm to the touch. So yeah, it's so cold out that even all these heaters in here, like I'll touch this, barely warm to the touch. The back of that, it's all being projected forward, nothing backwards. Like the back of this thing is just slightly warm. The front of it, you'll burn yourself on it. So yeah. Oh, we have hit 69 degrees right there on that one. How are we doing over on this one? 73? Good. How are we doing outside? Let's take a look at that. We have hit -10, right? Yeah. Good. And it is only not even 8 o'clock. Well, I'm all bundled up again, so let's head off to the gas station. All right, we're at the gas station. Here we go. I'm gonna have to buy another diesel can. I don't have 2 of them, so I'm just reusing this gas can at the moment. Diesel fuel here is $3.54. The red stuff I'm using. If you want regular on-road diesel, it's $3.69 at the moment. So basically, you don't pay taxes on the red stuff because it's not for the road. This pump is leaking. Look at it dripping. This pump is leaking. That explains all the stains all over the ground. Yeah, there's stains everywhere. Their pump is leaking. I heated this back up, which is now cooling, and we have plenty of diesel fuel out there now, which is nice. And I actually had to go to the gas station twice because I forgot my wallet, and that's unfortunate because it's an hour away. Well, hour round trip here in the middle of nowhere to get that stuff. So these heaters have been running all day. It's now 9:30, and this has been running since about 2 in the afternoon. So over here, it's definitely getting warmer as time goes on. Very slowly, it's getting warmer as the metal, I guess, absorbs it. If I touch the ceiling now, okay, so over here, cold, but right here, right before it goes upstairs, it's warm, and I'm imagining it's from this heater that's higher to the ceiling. That's what that is, but it wasn't warm earlier. The floor up here doesn't feel warm. There's a slight breeze coming down here as it gets displaced with hot air. So overall, this place is not drafty at all. It's just a metal shell. That's why we're losing a good amount of heat. But it's okay. This thing is such a good stove that I'm confident when we try this again, this is gonna heat us good. We're gonna camp in here again soon. I wanna try it, see how it does with its actual heating system, not this. This is just a cool experiment and for the health of the generator to give it a good amount of runtime today. and then we'll park it maybe for a year again. So we're doing good. So let's see what the temperature has now got down to. Sitting at about -12 or -11, something like that. So it didn't really, not really. I'm just gonna sit here and munch on this for a while. Then I'll brush my teeth. Got my phone charger plugged in up there. And I kind of want to go for a walk. We got a nice full moon, and I'm also curious, how far away can this generator be heard because it's loud? I want to walk in the woods quite a ways. Wow, it is so cold. Look at how thick the frost is. Look at that. All right, we're gonna go for a walk in the woods. Thankfully, there's no wind. It's actually quite nice. The cold doesn't bother me really unless it's windy. If there's even the slightest breeze when it's this cold, it's horrible. And I got this giant flashlight, which actually generates so much heat that it'll eventually keep my hand warm through the handle. It gets hot. Right now it's unbearable to touch because it was in my truck. I feel like I'm gonna get frostbite just by touching it. But within a couple minutes, this whole thing is gonna be warm. And this flashlight is good compared to the old model. The old model had a cooling fan that sounded like a hairdryer. This one, can barely hear it, and you certainly can barely hear it over the generator. And it's the middle of winter, so there's not really anyone around, but I'm very curious actually if that generator can be heard from the neighbor's camp. Ooh, look at this area. You can tell water was rushing through here. Look at all the debris piled up. Well, we are near the creek. Oh yeah, this whole area had water going through it. There's a little bit of water trickling at the creek. It's where we usually go and do dishes, but I don't want to touch the water in this weather. Okay, the handle on the flashlight's already starting to get warm. So we're gonna walk a little bit and see. Look at this. Now you see the ice isn't that thick because, like I said, just 2 days ago it was really warm out. Getting a workout now after dinner. Pretty steep hill here. Oh, something just ran away. Something's out here with me. There's lots of coyotes usually. In the winter time you hear them howling. Wow. You can still hear the hum of that generator. And we're a far distance from it. You know, we're going up a hill, and the way sound moves, that might actually help us hear it further. But like I said, it's the middle of winter. Even if someone is at any of the neighboring camps, they're gonna have their windows shut. So it don't really matter. Look at this cool tree. This one uprooted years ago, and this one as a seedling got picked up, or maybe it actually grew there as a seed. But now that the ball of roots is rotting, it leaves it looking like a nice spider. Yeah, you can't even tell really what that is from this far away, actually. Just sounds like a bunch of traffic or white noise in the background at this point. Kind of sounds like a tractor trailer driving by. Ooh, I love stepping on white ice. Ooh, that's why. Look, we already see buds on the trees getting big. Some of these trees are ready for spring. But they're gonna have to wait another 5 months up in this area. We're still in the middle of December. That's what I like about being up north. The cold season takes up 2/3 of the year. Okay, I'm gonna turn back now. Let me shut the light off for a sec. Just shutting it so I can hear with the cooling fan. Oh wow. Can you see this with another setting? Oh yeah, you can. Look at that. No lights, one bit. Look, that's how bright the moon is. We have a full moon. And with a little bit of snow on the ground, it illuminates everything. I could literally get back if I wanted to with no lights. You see all these lumps in the woods? Those are actually tire tracks. Every tree you see here is new. They log it every now and then. All right, making our way back. Fingertips are starting to get cold. All I gotta do really is switch hands. This flashlight is a good heater. So, what I have just determined by walking up here is, whoa! What's that? That just sends shivers down me. Every time I hear something walk in the woods at night and I don't know what it is. Heard something. Now the generator's starting to get loud. So I'd say you can probably hear this thing. Let's think realistically, a 1/4 mile. And if leaves were on the trees, it would act as a further buffer. Whoa. The reason there's no ice there is because mud, oh yeah, you can even see it steaming right there. A lot of times mud has bacteria in it, and that living bacteria generates heat. That's why swamps are the last thing to freeze and the first thing to defreeze. Alright, we're back to the stream. We just got to go up and over this hill and we're back. Good spot here to wash off that mud. Yeah. Good. Came right off. I gotta switch hands. Almost back. Oh, the temperature actually got warmer. Now we're back to -10. Oh, wait a second. Yeah. I got ice in my beard. There's been times, if I'm out here for like an hour, you'll get actual icicles start to form. Especially if you blow down on it. It's so cold out. All right, it's now 11:30, and I'm gonna have a little more of this. I don't think I'm gonna eat it in the morning after it's been sitting out that long. So I'm gonna eat a little bit more of this, and whatever I can't finish is gonna go outside for the raccoons. While I've been sitting here, I noticed this. See that bright orange rust? See that dribble right there on the floor? Water's been coming down the chimney, and this has always been a very slight problem, but this looks a lot worse, and it's because of the new roof. I feel like water comes down faster compared to when it had a flat roof, and this is a temporary fix. You see, it'll come off to the sides instead of down on this really hard where it gets in. Let's see if this will taste any better to me. Adding a bunch of pepper in there and stirring it around. I love pepper, but I don't really like seasoning food if the food already tastes good, but maybe that'll switch it up a little bit. I love peppered food. All right, I put it over here because this thing's cold. It helps my food cool down for me. So let's see how it is with a lot of pepper in the broth. That's actually a lot better. I wouldn't be surprised if I eat almost all that now. That was really good. I ate every single vegetable in there, basically. And now, I might still eat that. I might heat it up one more time because I'm still going to be up a couple of hours now. It is now about to be midnight. If you saw my videos from the summer, I bought a whole bunch of these. These are bags that smell like peppermint. They're supposed to keep mice away. They clearly don't work. They still smell super strong. I wouldn't mind using these as just air fresheners in drawers. That's a good idea because it's all natural. But when it comes to pests, natural usually doesn't work. The best thing I have found to actually keep mice out of here is mothballs. I need to get more mothballs in here, just like we have with the generator when we're not in here for a while. Alright, I'm full. This is raccoon food. They're going to eat it tomorrow night. I don't think anything's going to go near this generator. There we go. Got a nice scrap pile for some animal. Here we go. Alright everyone, we're going to go put fuel out in the generator one more time. I'm going to top it off as much as I can, and I'm going to set an alarm clock for 7 hours because I don't want this thing to run out. I think it can go about 8, 9, 10 hours, but I don't want to run it out of fuel because I heard it's very hard to reprime it, and I'll even have to replace the filters. Someone told me it kind of crushes them as it tries to suck. I don't know, that's what I was told, but I don't want to let it run out of fuel. Alright, it's time for bed. I'm setting an alarm clock for 7 hours. I hope I don't sleep through it because I don't want this thing running out of fuel. Now, I think it can go a lot more than that, but we're going to find out. I want to see what it's at in the morning because I know exactly what time it is right now. It's 10 of 1. Alright, let's go up and sleep. So outside we got down now to -16, so we're probably going to drop more, but unless we get up at the crack of dawn, we're not going to know how much it actually went down. And here's about 75 in the downstairs. Now the upstairs thermometer, I moved it next to the bed because I know it's a lot colder in the ends. We're going to see what it is. the lights off. Now I want to shut the downstairs ones off. I'm going to leave these on. I knew I should have made a 3-way switch for the downstairs too. Oh my gosh! I forgot to show everyone! Just the heaters, it's so cool and red! Wow! Look downstairs! Look at that! Look at all those heaters. I've never seen so many heaters in one spot because they typically would blow a circuit breaker. And the other side, more heaters. Cool. Alright, just got this out of the truck. That is actually... Oh no, it's not accurate. We gotta do daylight savings. Yeah, those heaters look cool, so I actually switched my bed to the other side. Now you can see the clock there. I'm gonna try to put the temperature, although that's not really gonna change. It hasn't changed all night. It's not gonna make a difference. So upstairs, it's been about the same all night. Down here on the floor, 59 degrees, so that's actually really good in my opinion for sleeping. Downstairs is much warmer, but I like it. Alright everyone, it's about 20 of 7. Temperatures have not changed upstairs, maybe slightly went down 1 degree. You see the sun is starting to come up out there. Now downstairs, temperatures have actually dropped a little bit. It's now showing 73. Yet the whole inside dropped slightly because it's getting a lot colder outside. Let's see. What are we showing now? -19? Yeah. And we still might drop a couple degrees because the sun's not really getting strong for a couple more hours. But I only have 1 more gallon of fuel. We almost burned up all 10.5 gallons we got last night because I overfilled them. So I'm going to put that last gallon in. We got to go to the store again if we want to keep that thing running 24 hours. Oh my gosh. My fingers are numb just touching this. Oh my gosh. I can't keep touching it. I can't even touch it for a minute without my fingers hurting. It's so cold out that I made it all the way to the gas station and my engine didn't even get up to temp. It was a rough start for my truck this morning. This cold, but yet we somehow woke up a fly from hibernation. I've also seen a moth in here. I have also seen a spider. A squash beetle was seen in my time lapse of sleeping. So I got a good solid 5 hours of sleep, and it's now 9 in the morning, so I'm thinking I might top the generator off, take another nap potentially. Then we'll have some lunch, clean up. You see that? We have a small oil leak. It's very slow though, it doesn't matter though. It's slow enough that we can keep topping it off every couple days if we were to have to use this thing continuously. The reason it's leaking is because when I changed the oil filter, it didn't come with the correct gaskets because it's a military generator. You typically can't buy the parts for that. And when I bought a filter at Napa, filter fit perfectly, but the gaskets they weren't compatible, so I had to use the old ones again. When I was looking through the time lapse, I noticed this. This is a lot hotter than that one. And that's because you feel right here, you can feel cold air dribbling down, while right here, this piece of aluminum is uncomfortably hot. Not hot enough to burn me, but kind of uncomfortable to touch it because all this heat going along the ceiling. Now, it was not that hot up there a couple of hours ago. But now I'm gonna stand on the chair, put my head up here. The upstairs is actually starting to get hot. Downstairs is also starting to get hot now. Look at that. We have now approached 84 degrees in the truck. Well, what happened? It was negative 16 out earlier. Well, it only took the sun being up 3 hours and take a look at that. Now that might be just because it's in the sun, but still, we rose a lot. It's now 20 degrees outside. Alright, I suspect that thermometer was sitting in the sun and reading unusually high. So, I put it over in the shade. Now that seems more like it. 10 degrees. Now I'm gonna come up here and grab this tiny little pan. And I'm gonna put this on the stove. I have this on top of here because when I was sleeping, I didn't want it on the counter since the counter was getting a bit hot. So now what I'm gonna do is put this on here. Seriously, dollar store piece of garbage. I was cranking and it just snapped. I don't think that's gonna, yeah, it snapped. Piece of junk. It cracked in there, so it can no longer grip onto here. I have broken so many of these from the dollar store, but I keep buying them because they're cheap. I just gotta keep a couple of them on hand, I guess. So, ouch! Damn dollar store! I just cut myself because of that stupid thing. Well, what I'm gonna do here is Add a little bit of water in there because I don't have a clean pan that's this big. Now we're just going to heat that really slowly. I'm doing that because there's a plastic liner in there and I don't want to put the can directly on the stove. I used to do that as a little kid, but I didn't know about the plastic on the inside. Now I have like a bad paper cut, but could have been worse. Alrighty, that is nicely warmed up. And got one more fork. Don't have a spoon, unfortunately. So many people in my last video were like, hey, you forgot the pear, you're gonna come back to something rotten. That's a fake pear, actually. Down here is very, very hot, so I'm actually gonna go eat this upstairs. So that generator is air cooled. It has a big fan just blowing over a bunch of coils and out a vent, and it's dumping all the hot air onto the fuel tank, and I think that's probably by design. It's impossible for it to get cold and gel up the fuel. So I stopped using that additive once I realized how much heat. Like, you touch the tank in this cold weather, the tank is noticeably warm if it's been running. The fuel is even warm, it's heated, it's nice. But I just put more anti-gelling in there. I'm going to let it run for at least a half an hour, get through all the filters and hoses to make sure it will start again if we need it in the winter. In about 20 minutes, I'm going to set it to idle, let it sit another 20 minutes with no load, nothing on it whatsoever. Then we're going to shut it off. These heaters were running 22 hours, and randomly the circuit breaker just flipped them off. So, it's that time. Look at that. We're now sitting at 96 degrees down here in the main room because the sun is helping warm us up. So, unplug the stove, heater off, 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 off. We just took almost all the load off the generator. Right now there is literally just 4 light bulbs, which is less than 100 watts. Actually, let's say 100 watts because there's still a light on the generator that I never shut off last night. What about this little heater? Oh, actually, nope, this one's still on. There we go, that one's off. Now it's about 100 watts on it. So now we're gonna go turn it down to idle. So we'll shut these lights off. It's daytime, we don't need them. We can start opening this place up. Let all the cold air in. Idle for about 20 minutes. It's not even loud anymore. All right. Nearly 23 hours of runtime. Well, it's definitely got good oil circulation in there. I can hear a lot of oil dribbling back down to the pan. So we'll revisit the oil leak in maybe another year. I'm going to let this thing go 2 years without an oil change because we're not really going to use it much. Yesterday I could see the benefits from this already, and yep, if you look at the exhaust pipes, yesterday when I showed you the exhaust pipes there was this wet oily residue, and now just a little bit of soot. It burned all the debris in the whole exhaust system. It cleaned out the engine by putting a load like that, which was nice. Now we're gonna top it off. Yep, I think we can fit the rest of this in there. There's only like a gallon left. I think we can fit it. Nope, I could only fit a half a gallon of it in there. It was up to the top and I shook the trailer a little bit and it went back down in there a little bit. So it's filled to the top. That's good. It stops that from rusting because it's oil. It looks like there was condensation in this for a while. That's why it's a little rusty, the spout right there. But now it's fully loaded and it's ready to go. I'm going to make sure this is filled back up. Then I'm going to put gas back in it, but I'm going to buy 2 more of these cans and keep them here. Then we won't ever have to go to the gas station in the middle of a camp like that again. If anyone saw, this is the reason I bought that fuel trailer. I thought it would be cool to park it next to this and have like a oil company deliver it, just like heating oil. The thing is, that trailer isn't roadworthy. I could bring it here, but because it doesn't have the right valves, it needs a vent whistle, and there's nowhere to put that is the issue. So that tank is useless. Maybe I'll buy a used Craigslist heating oil tank and put it here next to it. All right, everyone. Now here we go with a challenging part of making sure I pick these up in the right order and not make a tangled mess. I gotta slowly pick up all these cords, so we'll time lapse that. So out of all these cords, the yellow one wound up the best because it's cold weather rated. The rest of them become stiff. These ones not so bad. They were not that bad. I was able to wind them up in a way that doesn't damage them. This one is a cheap cord. I didn't buy it for this. I bought it for a project a year ago that I didn't do. It's 100 feet, only 26 bucks. It's a cheap cord, and in the cold weather, it's so stiff, it's making crackling noises and stuff. So yeah, I wound it up around my arm like that. That's actually not the way to wind a cord. That actually will damage it over time, but what can I do in this cold weather? So compare that to these cords. These ones are like 80 bucks a piece. And that one there, I don't know. That came from a yard sale like 8 years ago. So this right here is something the previous owner taught me to do. See the throttle? I pulled it back out. Spray a little oil on that. Here's the throttle cable coming up. It's completely encased until right here at the end. You see the cable coming out. Get in there, spray it on there. Also right here, that's part of the throttle. That linkage right there. Down inside there, there's a little bit more. Want to spray that nicely like that. And now let it in, pull it out a couple of times. Oh wow, yeah. This was hard to pull yesterday. Get it out like that. Oh. Yeah, that's already working nice. See it there? That's how the throttle is controlled. All right, put this back in there. Amazingly, the engine's only been off 10 minutes and nothing up in here is hot, just slightly warm. You touch the block, it's slightly warm, can't get burned on it. So let's close that up. Now it smells horrible in there, so mice won't go near it. Because I have no idea when the next time I'm gonna attempt to start this is. probably not until next year. All right, everyone. So I made a little bit of a storage area up here now, you see. I lined all the heaters up over there against the wall, put the life preserver, there's the chair for the kayak, the paddles I jammed up in the ceiling, and I was able to get a bunch of stuff out of the truck that I wanted to store here. Kayak will fit downstairs. At the moment, I'm not going to do that. I'm also going to risk leaving the bed here with the mice because they were all caught downstairs by the traps. I don't think any even got the chance to come up here. So I also do plan on maybe coming back here within the next month and doing another video with just the wood stove. So, yep, we got everything cleaned up down there. Nice and tidy. Yep, nicely cleaned up. Everything. Yep. And I hope today's video was interesting, everyone. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. I tidied it up a little more. Maybe that'll even discourage mice even further, it not being flat.